My name is Steve Reed. I'm a civil engineer. I work for HDL Engineering Consultants. And we are helping Merrill Field this summer to administer the construction on runway 725 here at Merrill. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to make sure everybody knows that there will be a major construction project at Merrill Field this summer. There will be changes to the traffic and operations patterns that are going in and out of Merrill. And this is primarily for reconstruction on runway 725. So the main thing I want to make sure everybody here is aware of, the air traffic control tower here at Merrill is putting on a public briefing. And I've got the flyer up here. That's at May 5th at 5:30 p.m. And that's right here in this same room. So if you have questions about operations, about traffic patterns on the ground or in the air, this meeting on May 5th, Caleb, the supervisor from the tower, is going to be there to present. And that would be a good opportunity to get questions and information about new taxi routes, new patterns coming in and out of the airport. So I do have a handful of flyers here that I'll leave out on the front tables. And then talking with the folks at the association, I'll get that over in an email so they can send that out to everyone for the info. So just some general information about this project. The project is funded through FAA, and what we're going to do, in essence, is replace the pavement on runway 725 in its entirety, and replace all the edge lighting system for that runway. Runway 1634 and runway 523, those are going to remain open. Those are not part of the construction project. Coming in July, there will be night closures on runway 1634 while we're off the end of runway 725 in that approach zone coming in. So the bulk of this work is all going to happen in June and July, and the big date that probably everyone wants to know, June 2nd is when we're tentatively going to start this closure. So starting on that June 2nd, runway 725 will be closed for 60 days. So that's probably the big one. While we're doing that, there's going to be kind of some moving taxi routes to get across 725 and over to Taxiway Alpha on the north side to get users back and forth. And then there will also be a temporary run-up zone that we're going to put in between Taxiway Charlie and Delta because we're anticipating a little bigger queue getting over to 1634. So otherwise, this project has been in the works now for a few years. HDL and the airport, we've been meeting with community councils, we've been meeting with the MAC on a regular basis in the development of the project. And this is the part where I come in to take the phone calls and make the thing happen. And we're looking forward to later this fall having a brand new paved runway out there. So with that, I don't have a whole lot of otherwise, but if anyone has any questions, I can take them. Go ahead, Debbie.
Yeah, are you going to change it to 826?
The question was, are we going to change the designation to 826? And the answer is yes. So that in Alaska seems to happen about once every 20 years or so, just with the declination up here. So when we reopen this thing in August, it will be 826.
Yeah, so I saw words on your slide like substantial completion, final completion. What do we need?
Yeah.
I mean, you feeling solid about the 60-day time period, and is that just slots?
So the question here, the difference between our substantial completion and final completion. So in the construction world, substantial completion means the project is ready to be used for its intended purpose. So in the case of the runway, that means the lights are working, the markings are on, the pavement's done, and you're able to get in here and use that runway like you're doing now. Final completion means our contractors turn in all the paperwork And if we have some small stuff that we're still taking care of, that's happening prior to that final completion. So I would expect pretty minimal impact getting to that final completion. The big impact is going to be June and July this year.
But then that's mid-August for it being done?
Yes, about mid-August. I've included a little contingency in here that if we need some additional night closures in August, that folks are aware of that. But the 24-hour closure is planned for June and July.
Is anybody from Merrill Power in here? No, okay. Hoping we could capture some of their ideas.
So that's the general synopsis. Again, Merrill will be open, 1634 is going to be available, but 725 will be closed here for 60 days. So remember to check your NOTAMs. We will have kind of some changing traffic on the ground as we get through the project, and those NOTAMs will have the official, time and date for when the closure is going to be implemented. So we're still working on a few of those details at this point.
Are you putting a new layer of asphalt over the top of the runway, or are you removing the whole runway and replacing it?
So we are removing all of that existing pavement and bringing in a whole new layer of pavement.
What are we gonna, what do you have for dust mitigation for like planes parked on the field?
So we will be actively mitigating that dust with water trucks and with just kind of the general eye on our operations. The contractor is not going to be driving dump trucks all over the airport. They're restricted into a haul route that they'll be coming between 5th and the runway, either by the tower or, I apologize, still getting my bearings on Merrill Field entirely, either by the tower or that taxiway hotel there coming in, so.
Do you anticipate any substrate work? Because I know they had to do a lot of compacting in some of the ramp areas because of the old dump areas. Are you thinking you're gonna have to do any of that work?
So the question was, how much work are we doing below the surface, and will there be any of the dynamic compaction that has occurred previously at the airport? And the answer is, there will not be dynamic compaction on this project. This is a resurfacing job. So we will be removing, replacing the pavement. We're gonna remove and replace the gravel base course below it, and that's the extent of the depth that we're going. So let's, figuratively, that's about a foot of impact on the excavation side. Previous projects went down quite a bit deeper, and then it also involved that dynamic compaction to mitigate the landfill settling.
So when you're working on that area at 1634, are you gonna open part of 725 for traffic, or how are you gonna manage that area where the two runways cross?
So when we're working where the two runways are crossed, that will be closures at night, and both runways will be closed during those operations on the construction side.
So what's the definition of night?
That's a very good question. What is the definition of night? So dark is a different term.
The FAA has 3.
We are still working out exactly what those hours would be. Typically, it's 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. kind of range. But we're working with the airport and the tower to kind of define exactly where that's going to be. Yes.
When you say airport closure, is that going to include the dirt strip?
The dirt strip will remain open for the entire construction process. We are doing no work in that area. So.
Is the new asphalt surface gonna have grooves?
The question is the new asphalt surface going to have grooves? And the answer is no, it will not have grooving. I would defer to my design counterparts at HDL for deeper explanation on that, but as far as the construction project, it will not have grooving. So, other just information, we are finalizing the project website for this, and that will probably get published next week. We're also, if any of you are on the emails that come from Merrill Field, we are sending weekly updates will happen here in a few weeks as we get close to disclosure. If you'd like to sign up for those, you can reach out to the Merrill office and be in the loop on that. But like I said, the big impact here is June and July with 17.5, so.
Who's the contractor?
The prime contractor is QAP here out of Anchorage. And that's all I have, so if anyone has any other questions and concerns, I'm happy to chat. And like I said, I've got my contact info and these same flyers going to your association here to get it distributed. So thank you for your time, and have a good day.